Datta Kumar, Vice President, Strategies and Alliances, Mosaic Network India, and Dr. Laviraj Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Badi University of Emerging Science and Technology. The session would be chaired by Dr. Sanjeev Sharma, Head, Technical Education in India, Challenges, Opportunities, and Insights. Technical education has grown phenomenally over the years. Statistics say that there are more than 8 lakh students enrolled in 2,297 engineering colleges across the country. The session will highlight how in such a scenario, quality technical education with a component of ethics and moral values can be imparted to the students while adhering to the global accreditation norms. It will also focus on prioritizing industrial training and entrepreneurship skills in the students. So handing over the session to Dr. Sanjeev Sharma.
Thank you so much. I welcome all to the session of Technical Education in India, Challenges, Opportunities and Insights. For beginning, I request Dr. Mukesh Pandey, Dean Industrial Technology, Rajiv Gandhi Pradhyogiki Vishwavidyalaya, to present his talk.
Very good evening to respected dignitaries and my fellow panelists and this August gathering. This is a very important topic, but has given the last place. Technical education is a very important part of the. So, in Madhya Pradesh, just to unify the technical education in the state of Madhya Pradesh, Rajiv Gandhi Technological University. Rajiv Gandhi Technological University has been established in the year 1998 to unify the technical education in the common platform. And earlier, all the engineering institution, architecture institution, MCA institution were affiliated to the regional universities. So, just I have 2-3 minutes for this. What is the RGP? What are the achievements and what are the latest activities of the Rajiv Gandhi Technological University? So, Rajiv Gandhi Technical University is affiliating almost 215 engineering institutions and also MCA institution and the architecture institution, polytechnic institution, also running the postgraduate program in the affiliated institution in the university teaching departments of the RGPV also. The campus is a total lush green campus around 250 acres located at Bhopal. Now, the main vision for the RGPV, Rajiv Gandhi Technical University, is the relevance, and relevance having important significant factor, that is need-based courses as per the requirement and the need for the industries, the upcoming technologies, and the demand-driven services as per the demand, and the problem-based research and development. What are the problems that are arriving and day-to-day coming in the industries and the various sectors? So we are also designing and drafting the courses like this. Then the next one is the quality. Research, we are also maintaining the quality of the research, teaching and the innovation, and also developing the skills by the e-learning, self-learning and the virtual learning, and the competence certification. To create the competence, core competence in the students, in the faculties, the RGPV is also taking the initiatives. That is also important part of the equity in the technical education, the remedial learning. Time to time, so many measures and the initiatives are being taken for the remedial learning. Next is the final part of the proactivity. The RGPV is taking care of the proactivity, also the initiatives in the field of the partnership with the industries, networks with the national bodies and also international bodies and globally. The RGPV outreach with the government departments, some director technical education, the Vyapam, who is the exam entrance conducting body, and the polytechnics, the stakeholder students and the industry partners also. The focal thrust of the Rajiv Gandhi Technological University is developing a tech-savvy campus of the university itself. Also, we are giving time-to-time directives to the affiliated institution in the state of Madhya Pradesh to take the advantage and apply the ICT applications to their campus for the benefits of the students and the faculties. And also, we are taking the advantage of the National Knowledge Network at the national level, that is Government of India scheme. We are giving a very good capacity building to the affiliate students also. Strengthening knowledge infrastructure, leveraging ICT applications. So many speakers right from morning saying the application of the ICT applications to the technical education and the advancement in the technology. The Rajiv Gandhi Technology has already started from last 2-3 years the online service portal. In the later slide, the detail will be given. Also, the time-to-time introduction of the courses. The focus area in the Rajiv Gandhi Technological University is the imparting quality education at the postgraduate level, also at the doctorate level, and the value addition courses and training programs, the ethical values in the faculty and the students. The value education programs are also being run, and that will be a important and mandatory part of the education. Leveraging advantage of the ICT, seamless transfer of the knowledge time to time, ongoing extension and the research programs, knowledge portal, quality service like this, synchronous classroom, e-learning and e-knowledge. Time to time, university is also inviting the faculty of all the affiliated institutions in the state of Madhya Pradesh for the faculty development program. We are inviting the expert lecture for the from the industries, from process industries, information technology industries, and the couple of industrialists from out of the India also. Establishing world-class research institutions, those institutions who are having a very good infrastructure, very good strength in the faculty, laboratory facilities. So RGP developing establishing the research center for the affiliated institutions also. Strengthening the industry institution partnership, that is very important part for the development of the entrepreneur skill in the students, and also to expose the faculty and the students for the practical practices which are prevailing in the industries. Now, the theme of this last session is the challenges of technical education. The principal challenge, this massive expansion of the higher technical, is the maintaining the quality. Now, for bridging the gap of the pass-out student or graduating student and getting the employment, after taking the employment in the IT sector, in the manufacturing or in process industries, the industry is also imparting the training to the students. Why the gap is there? That is a very big challenge. At least after selecting in the Mahatri Sahib has also placed so many students from the affiliated institution. They are imparting training for 6 months, 1 year like this. Why not that can be done during the course of the time? Although there is a place, there is a provision has been given in the syllabus that the industrial training is a part of the full 4-year program. But sometimes the students are going in the industry, sometimes they are getting the attendance but not developing and inculcating the practical knowledge, so that after graduation they can directly go on the work. Even already, so many speakers told about 20 to 25% of the qualified students in India having the employable skill or the knowledge. Major portion is the shortage of the faculty. Faculty are there, but as per the norms of the AICTE, there is a very massive shortage in the field of the, at least in engineering, because the number of institutions in Madhya Pradesh are 100, 215. So there is acute shortage of the faculties, at least in the field of computer science, information technology, electronics and communication, like this. Now, another challenge, the premier institution, RGPV and the National Institute of Technology and some IITs, may be possible that they are failed to inspire or nurture innovation, entrepreneurship skill and path-breaking technological ideas as generated in the foreign universities. Just like you can say Stanford, MIT, they have the benchmark. But we are doing and we are progressing to take the top in the India. There is also a need of new institution coming up would hopefully provide thought leaders and also the quality education. Now it is the time for need for restructuring of technical education. The real challenge is how to reposition our institution, our universities in response to the global changes that is happening day to day daily. The next point is the era of rapid technological advancement spawned a communication revolution that is pervading every region of the world and creating a global information society. We have vast ready pool of skilled personnel that entrepreneurs found cheaper than the industrial workforces. Demand for greater productivity, new technologies are radiating into almost every industrial sector in all the fields and all the disciplines. Both the industry and educational institutions put their soldiers to wheel, just like MOUs, starting of the corporate schools, finished schools, the exchange of the faculty, exchange of the expertise between the industry and the institution, exchange of the students, so that they can give the practical practices. Partnership may be developed in one of the major areas, the faculty exchange, resource support, resource utilization like this. Development of the entrepreneurial skill to make the students employable in the industry, and we will increase our ratio from 25% to maybe higher 40%, 50% like this. This is also a very big challenge. In a rapidly evolving work environment, education and vocational guidance, vocational development courses, skill development courses has to be started. Plans are there, policies are there, but we have to implement to get the real advantage of the schemes of the government. Demonstrate effective oral, the faculty must have certain capabilities or the potential, as they in the morning our honorable minister also said, the teacher is the real makers of the student, or you can say the real makers and the directly in the nation. But the teacher have to teach the student ethical education, value education. So we have to create the value education for the student development of the teachers, because what is happening actually, the top grade students, suppose in Indore, you can select the 5 institution engineering. So topper students are getting the job in the TCS, Microsoft, IBM like this. Now the second level of the students getting the job in some other companies. Third level students getting the job in fourth level companies. जो लास्ट स्टूडेंट बचता है, जिसको कि कहीं जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है, वो टीचिंग में आता है. अब आप देखिए कि एक टॉपर लड़के को, जो लास्ट बैच का स्टूडेंट है, वो फैकल्टी बन जाता है. आजकल तो आईसीटी ने एमटेक कर दिया है, तो पहले तो डायरेक्टली बीई वाले बनते थे. अब लास्ट लेवल स्टूडेंट्स, फैकल्टीज आर टीचिंग टू दी स्टूडेंट्स. तो हाउ यू कैन मैच द क्वालिटी, हाउ कैन एक्सपेक्ट ए वेरी गुड क्वालिटी फ्रॉम सच टाइप ऑफ फैकल्टीज? दिस इज ए वेरी बिग चैलेंज. ऐसी कुछ योजनाएं बनाना चाहिए, ऐसे कुछ प्लान बनाना चाहिए, ऐसा कुछ मैंडेटरी करना चाहिए कि हर इंस्टीट्यूशन के टॉपर फाइनल स्टूडेंट्स, दे हैव टू सर्व इन द टीचिंग प्रोफेशन फॉर कपल ऑफ मंथ्स और कपल ऑफ ईयर, और मे बी वॉलंटरी और एज ए गेस्ट फैकल्टी, क्योंकि ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है. नाउ द RGPV is doing some industry-sponsored program that is our in the pipeline. Maybe from the next academic session, we will start the industry-sponsored PG program. Just in the tune, the curriculum content will be given by the industry, and dissertation will also be done in the sponsoring industries. So that now Global Skill Development Center RGPV is also planning to establish the Global Skill Development Center in the campus. This is the model of the Global Skill Development Center. Now the corporate school in the joining hands with the industries, the university is also started and are starting some schools. We are also starting the corporate school in the field of information technology, computer science, electronics communication, like this. Now the new center of the excellence proposed in the RGP in the field of biotechnology, biomedical engineering, mobile computing, discovery in the field of pharmacy, nanotechnology, like this. Now, some also centers in the drug discovery in the field of pharmacy, finish school, corporate school, skill development centers. The plans of the RGPV starting of the finish school in the field of information technology is already running. Develop the venture capital knowledge resource center. These are the some innovative plans in the future. In the due course of the time, this things will be started in the campus. Now the most important part of the, as I said in the outset, the online e-governance or the application of the ICT facilities in the campus of the RGPV, also in the affiliated institution, giving the facilities for the stakeholders, like this is the model examination. All the activities of the examinations are being conducted or carried out through our service portal, online portal, all the activities, just like the eligibility and the numbers and the certification, feedback students, for the student fee payment, project assignment, this, and the institution, the facility for the institution, the staff profile, physical facility, institutional performance, curriculum, relations, all these factors and the activities are online. The objective of the university to create the paperless and cashless university, make the self-sustainable and self-driven university. And university services, the main target is the opening of the university 24/7, 24 hours, so that the student and faculty can take the maximum benefit of the facilities and the resources available in the university. Service first, some initiatives of the Rajiv Gandhi Technological University is the unique identification code, or the smart card has been distributed to all the students of the university. Universities enrolling approximately 4 lakhs students per annum, including all the programs. The university placement portal is also a part of this service portal, main portal. E-books, e-facilities, e-library facility are also being started in the university. The RGPV is also strengthened this portal by introducing value-added services. So many speakers right from the RGPV cloud, on-demand lecture, the expert lecture, virtual classroom facility, virtual lecture facilities will be also available. These are the corporate alliance, the MOU, having in the tune or matching with the objective of the industry and institution interaction. Like some companies, we are having a MOU, like Wipro, EMC, Square, IBM also. So IBM has established already in Madhya Pradesh in affiliated institution 15 center of excellences. Couple of institutions in Indore also having a RGPV, IBM, and the joint partnership of the institution, the center of excellences. This is the very good initiative of the RGPV. And also RGPV having plan to set up a research in the core engineering, like civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, like this. And also to promote, to motivate, to inspire, to ignite the researchers, maybe from the faculty, maybe from the students. The RGPV has already started a scholarship of the 16,000 per month for the meritorious research-driven or research-oriented students. And also for this, having the fund about 10 crores for this particular purpose. For the so many activities has also been developed in the field of training and placement, and this is the presentation. So a lot of things we have to discuss, but now the time has been started at 6 o'clock. As per the timetable, as per the agenda, the finish time of the at 6 p.m. So this is, I think, fortunately, unfortunately, good or bad, कि Although in this session our Director Technical Education from the and also our Vice Chancellor has to come in this technical session, but because of their business they have not come. But very good, I think this should be kept in the top place, that will be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pandey. Now I would like to call upon Professor Lavi Raj Gupta, the Vice Chancellor of Baddi University.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's very difficult to behold your breath at this last moment. I do understand, because I might be sitting on this side of the river, but the scenario is same. Well, for coming maybe 10 minutes, I'll really give you a food for thought, because you know, I've worked for this maybe 2 years down the line. The point of discussion today is what? The challenges in technical education. We all know there's only one challenge, you know, how to get the job to a person who's doing a professional degree. That is the only challenge. It is all associative, that you have employability, you have got quality of teachers, you have got less practical exposure and things like that. I've got 2 questions to make. Do you think that as a Vice Chancellor I am a soothsayer, I am an astrologer, that I can predict that after 4 years this company is going to perform like this and your son or daughter is going to get placed in that company? We all know that the company which got the best employer award that year got shut down because of the financial problems inside the company. So how can I predict? I'm not a soothsayer, I'm not an astrologer. If a father comes to me and asks, "Sir, would you get my son job in X company?" I really do not know whether the X company will be having projects then or not. Number 2, we say practical exposure. The question is, what do you mean by practical exposure? We all have done that experiment, no? We all know. We all have done that experiment. Say yes or no. What did we were intending to learn what? The laws of gravity. But you know what we learned out of that experiment? How to operate the stopwatch. Nothing more than that. Because we all know that we all plotted that straight line because everybody was plotting that straight line like that. Let's be truthful. So the challenges are manifold. It's not just simply talking in and talking out and closing the day over a cup of coffee or maybe a wonderful dinner. So, now in 8 minutes, I'll get you something, you know, which serves the purpose also. Okay. The entire spread of the discussion would be like this, that I'll be talking about why this gap is there. And, you know, I'll not talk about it. It's the silence of the lambs. The academia is silent. The industry is silent. They say that we are talking to each other. But do you know any model which is absolutely workable, which is viable, and which is working? I am going to tell that because I know, I have figured out what is the need of the hour. And I'm going to give you a solution which is known as the academic adoption, which has been absolutely, perfectly implemented as of now, as of today. We are going to talk about that quickly. The gap is, the expectations are contrasting, absolutely contrasting. Industry wants day one ready person. That a person comes to the industry and day one, he is productive. Means morning 9 o'clock he joins, by 5 o'clock he gives business. That is the expectation. The expectation even varies from industry to industry. A software industry may have an expectation which is absolutely different than another software company. So that is too difficult for an academia to cope up with. How many of you belong to industry in this group? Just 2-3 hands? 4 hands. And we are talking about academia industry interaction, just 4 hands. I know about I know about him. He'll be always present in an event like this because he belongs to a company which has got a specific focus on academia interaction. That is why he's sitting over here. But how many local industry people are sitting out here? 2, 3, 4 in a house such big like this? Change in technology. The industry people are always after what? The market. Look to your specs. 2 years down the line, the expectation out of your specs are different. They were different. And today, you are expecting something else. So industry has to cope up with what? With the market trends. In academia, my. We only look to what? Is the company coming for the placement drive to my campus? And how many, sir, how many you're going to, what kind of figure you have in mind? That is my expectation. Do you think I should be bothered about? No. I should not be talking to the industry whether you're coming to my campus for recruitment or not. No, I should not be talking. Has the limitation towards what? I'm afraid on experimentation on curriculum. There are a lot many, focus lights on me. Lot many focus lights with non-definition of the illumination of each of them. I've got a lot many focus lights and I'm too scared to do any kind of experimentation with my curriculum. So that is the problem with me. I'll always have a phase shift because by the time today this conference is over, the technology over there might have changed out. Faculty, Dr. Mukesh, there are some exceptions also that people who belonging to the first crust toppers have joined. I suppose I consider myself to be one of them. It's not always the last lot, but there are certain believers who can deliver, have joined the education also, but not all of them. None of my faculty members want to get abreast with what's happening. If I talk to a computer science doctorate, and if I ask him, what do you mean by vanilla ice cream? He'll just say, what are you asking for? He does not know that it is a patch for Android. Because he's not abreast. He does not know what do you mean by cognos. Why? Because he has stopped studying, he has stopped reading. So that challenges will always be there. Now look to this slide. This is something, which is going to be the crux. There are phobias. In academia, the phobia is just one. I'm not going to do anything new. I'll have a cut, copy, paste of something. Maybe if I want to do something new, I'll look to MIT, I'll look to Stanford. This is my phobia. As a student, I do not know about 3 things. What to do, why to do, and how to do. Only just 3 things I do not know. Rest all I know. About parents, they always run around for what? For the validation of the degree. Manyata is the only word which they talk about. Industry is, as I said, it is engrossed. It is totally engrossed into themselves. They are not selfish. They are not selfish, no. But they are more self-centered because they need to cope up with the growth which is happening outside. And society by and large, they haven't gulped the privatization of higher education. They have already taken in the privatization in school education, senior secondary education, they have accepted. All of us sitting over here, our kids have studied in private schools. So by and large, secondary and senior secondary education has taken a lead there. Society has not gulped the privatization of tertiary or maybe quaternary education. So this is the phobia. Need of the hour is, let's talk, that the industry to be ready to accept the student at the entry level. Why after 4 years? The boy is ready for you right now. Make a profile for him. Make a profile. He might not be knowing mechanical engineering as of now, but he knows that how to report, how to collate, how to assimilate the thoughts. Use him for that. Use him for that. Academia to design flexible. Let's be open to design. Let the world approve or disapprove. Because the best approval can only be given by the student who's performing. None else than the student can approve. Student will have to be ready for the hardship. What kind of hardship? Like no vacations. Do you know a person who joins NDA does not have vacation for 2 years? A person who joins civil services sitting at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy does not get vacation for 1 year. So why a student should get a vacation? Because he needs to be ready for tomorrow. Parents need to understand that now the kid has grown up. Let me give you 2 examples. One is my mother still, when I'm traveling by train, says, "Kisi ke haath se kuch khana nahi." Because I'll always be kid for her. Like this, in my model, the parents were sitting along with the students. And I said that your son or your daughter has grown up. If you do not know that they have grown up, go and look to their Facebook accounts. You'll come to know that they have grown up. So parents should understand that the kids have grown up. If they are going to industry for doing a job or for doing an interns or for doing a virtual working, you do not have to bother where he's going to take lunch. Because the kind of statements he makes at the Facebook or a Twitter, he's comfortable. He's absolutely comfortable because he watches passionately Man versus Wild. Do you all agree to that? Society needs to have patience. Now, this is something, which we have done at Baddi University. We have crafted a program called Academic Adoption. Let me tell you what happens is, in the very first year, even before the session has started in August, in July, the company comes and does the interview and test of the students and selects the student on day 1. They adopt the student. I've got now the success stories. I'll share that success story with you. They come, they conduct the test, not for C++ or C or data warehousing or data mining or machine design or strength of material. No, the basic aptitude. How do you look to a particular thing? They conduct that. They select the student on the basis of interview and their perception towards the hardships. Their perception towards having a balance between what? That a person can work from Monday till Friday afternoon and start working from Monday afternoon again. So you've got a window available for what? Friday afternoon till Monday morning, Monday afternoon. So they select. I keep them for first year. That is known as window 0. I've divided this entire span into windows. The window 0 is a soak-in period, wherein actually he's allowed to sit in the classes, regular 6 courses, done. But the industry people are going to come over there. They talk about the safety measures. They talk about the expectation. They talk about the profile. They talk about the kind of interaction they are going to have. Even they talk about what? The leave policies of the company. Then you've got a window of the winter break, wherein the students, they study a set of courses for the next term over here in the accelerated pace mode. And they've got a window, as I said, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a bit of time, and Friday, a bit of time, and you put the rest of the courses in that span period of time. So the degree is getting through in 4 years without any academic compromises, Let me tell you, all these students on academic adoption will be solving the same midterm examination and end-term examination as their fellow members in the conventional mode, who are not selected as of now. But they always have a window in second year, they always have a window in third year. So by the end of third year, by and large, I'm not looking for what? For the placement drive, I'm looking for academic adoption drive for the batches to come. I'll show you a quick go onto the windows and how these windows, they sum up for the completion of the semester courses within. These are the windows. So it has been distributed into 0 to window 14, and the last summer term window is available to them for industry-specific inputs if desired. There are fourfold benefits. Number one, the industry gets hands. I still remember, I've worked with him for 4 years, Professor Kalam. Once he was selecting a group of students from an institute for DRDO. Somebody asked him that, what are you looking into a person? He says, I'm not looking anything, I want hands to work for. And I'm going to get hands. Rest all, Grace Health, I'll actually work with them. I want hands as of now. So that is where the crux of the things lies. So he's going to complete this. The second fold, the student is getting money out of it. 6,000 rupees in the first year, 8,000 rupees in the second year, 10,000 rupees per month I'm talking about in the third year, and 12,000 rupees in the fourth year. He is actually, in the first year, he's not taking any money for his hostel accommodation or for his pocket money. In second year, he is a bit self-reliant in both the pocket money, hostel, plus some tuition fee. In third year, he becomes absolutely self-reliant. And to talk about what? This is the roadmap, which is for the present semester students. They'll be actually moving on to their jobs from 4th of February. This is the complete, defined, designated calendar for these academic students, academic adoption students. Learning outcome, forget about what do you mean by industrial exposure. They are already there. They're already there. Second, they are on job. Once they complete their degree, they've got complete 3.5 years of experience certificate from the company. Fourth, the company has got an employer for 4 years. My friend over there, he asked me one very important question. What if the company after 1 year says, Maza nahi aa raha? Come back. Because from window, you will be again transferred to what? To your semester. Because there is a window always available. If a student gets selected in 7th semester, he moves on to what? To his window. And he's comfortable that way. He's earning, he's learning and doing things like that. These are certain success stories. More than 60 of my students have been now adopted by companies like Alpala, Yodeva Plastics, Him Technoforge, Karman Infotech, and the Shapers. So 60 students are working, actually working with these industries. I suppose the need of the hour is to think out of the box. But nobody told me, where is the box? So let's define the box today. Rest all will be done on its own. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Gupta. Now I request Dr. Rajshri Datta Kumar for her presentation.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm the last speaker of the last session of this particular track, and I believe the school education track is also over, so I can just see people coming in for hearing me. So advantage of being the last speaker, I mean, it has loads of advantage, and I can see that. A, the context is already set, the agenda is set, the deliberations have happened. We have actually debated on, we have talked about many challenges over and over again. So we are all prepared to a conclusive sort of discussion, which is the last session that is on technical education. And I thought perhaps it's better that I do some sort of summing up of what we discussed in the morning. I'll pick few threads from here and there, whatever little I understood of the distinguished panelists and the august audience that they shared their thoughts on. So I thought I'll bring everything together, and as you can see, I've started stuttering. That means I'm also tired. So I'll not bore you with my presentation, and here we go. So we have talked about opportunities, we have talked about challenges, we have talked about insights. I thought I'll only concentrate on the opportunities, because wherever there are challenges, the opportunities begin. So what I heard since morning was basically how We have challenges. The population is still illiterate. As you can see in the screen, the 25% of the population of India is still illiterate. 15% of Indian students actually go to the high school. Out of those 15%, only 7% is able to make it to the high school or graduate. We talked about, my very senior colleague, Lokesh from Microsoft, he talked about what are the wonderful opportunities that the government of India is presenting us with. The academic reforms, the policies are very progressive, and forward-looking initiatives are definitely have been floated also by the government, the state government also. And there is a huge attention from the private sector, as well as there is huge attention to draw the attention of private sector by the government. And how can we strike a balance between technical education and those of the social sciences, which are very important. We have engineers. I'm also from IIT Delhi. We have engineers, but then how good the engineers are as individuals, that's very important. You're talking about a dam, some Tehri Garhwal dam. The dam there was a huge issue, but of course technological intervention was important there, but how, and there were people, there were livelihoods and whole lot of things. People, the inhabitants there, they were relocated from one place to the other. So there were sociological sort of factors that were very important, very crucial. So an engineer has to be a very good human being, as well as a very good, a very good citizen also, to understand the nitty-gritties of a particular, a given problem. I think Professor Laviraj has also sort of highlighted on those issues, on those aspects of how we can create a comprehensive and a very complete sort of graduate from a technical education, out of a technical education institution. So we have to create a sustainable model that are independent of the challenges that we have. So the challenges that we have, why not we take these challenges as assumptions and we start from there, so it will be much easier for us. So challenges are given. Now, how do we resolve? How do we address those challenges? Now, we also should have spatial education zones, and education can happen through distance mode. These are the few points that I kind of tried to pick from the discussions that we have this morning. And we also, someone also talked about, I have been referring to your presentation, referring to your discussion and speech, predominantly. So 3 Qs he talked about: quality, quantity, and qualification. And then someone talked about how do we push the underprivileged economies up to the ladder. And Mr. Ponda also mentioned that we have to bring the have-nots to the realm of haves. So how do we do it? How do we build the nation? The Honorable Minister in the morning, he said that we have to have a system wherein we can actually build the nation. The nation can be built when we have adequate education system, which is founded on some ethical basis or framework, and also we have to have an inclusive education system. So this is the context, and then if you can just see the slide, if you can just look into the slide, there are 2942 degree granting engineering colleges in India with an annual student intake of this number. Polytechnics are there. And we are again the second largest producer of engineering talent in the world. There's a very low correlation between academic performance and industry expectations that is given. Again, I'll call it an assumption. So while approximately 3.5 lakhs engineering students graduate every year in our country, we are not able to optimize on the existing talent pool that we have. And again, NASSCOM report is anyway referred to, or ENY report is referred to every time we talk about the employability scales or the knowledge and opportunity gap, what our higher education institutions are producing, and where are we lacking, and why industry is not ready to retain or absorb these graduates, this talent pool. Again, if you can just look into that, it's very text heavy, I can see that, but this is a last minute thing, and I thought you will be happy to read rather than listen to me. So where are we lacking? There are domain skills for sure. There are institutions, colleges, government is absolutely very excited and upfront, and I can just hear my co-panelists, very senior panelists, they have also encourage us to join hands with them, and we can actually bring a complete individual, a complete knowledge force. We'll not call them workforce, they are knowledge force for us. So how do we do it? While the domain skills are very specific to a particular domain, can we give them something else other than the domain skills for them to remain retained in a particular organization for some time? And that will definitely help, that it will have its own ripple effect, it will have its own sort of advantages to the organization, to the state, to the country at large. So how do we do it? And then these are all triggering points for you to have thoughts around it, because we have talked about all these points, all these concerns. The Government of India, as well as the state governments, we have a huge focus now on building the skill development and the vocational education of the country. And as we have seen that they have also identified few sectors, again it's in the second slide, I guess. So the population is actually, it's not a challenge for us, it's rather an advantage. We have the demographic dividend with us. So why not we actually make use of this advantage, this huge opportunity that we are sitting on. Again, if you can just see the slides, there are 75% of these jobs would require sector and skill-specific trained workforce. But in order for them to, again, as I have already mentioned, in order for them to be retained by the industry, what else can we offer? And there, I think we come in. We have talked about the broader visions. We have talked about the specific challenges. But then how do we do it? There are loads of pilots that have happened, but how do we actually make it happen? That's very important. So these are the few proposed solutions that I thought before I start my presentation, my very corporate presentation that I have. So where we actually can make a difference. We can actually have, the curriculum is already pre-structured. Why not we, as Sir has already mentioned, why not we start doing it right at the entry level when they actually have taken admission in a college or in an institution or in the university. Sir, as you have mentioned here, I thought I would just point it down, take it down, that industry to be ready to accept the naive entry-level students. Why not we create students who are no longer naive at the entry level, right, when they graduate from your institution or any institution. Why not we create the knowledge force such that they are no longer naive, and industry is all the more happy. While you have this adoption program going on, why not we work together? So it's like we have to just take one step behind, we have to think from there, and we can work it together. And that's where I thought industry at large can come to the help of the government institutions or the institutions at large. Again, in the morning, someone, I think the minister only said, no, the Secretary IT, he mentioned that government is not helpless. Of course, government is not helpless. They're doing a wonderful job. It's our responsibility as citizen of India, as the country person, as the country people, that we should work hand in hand together so that wherever there's a gap, we can bridge that gap and we can call ourselves a nation, and we are not a developing economy anymore. We are a nation aspiring to be a developed one. Having said that, since the slides are, I have so many ideas and slides are already very written and structured, so I'm not able to do it. So one more point that I really wanted to highlight was vertical mobility and horizontal mobility. So when by vertical mobility, I understand we have ITIs, we have technical education institutions, we have engineering colleges. Why not we have some sort of system wherein the ITI, the students graduating from ITI, and if you ask the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India, they say that they have some plans, but so I have not seen these plans in execution. So why not we have students who are graduating from ITIs go over and get admission in one of the engineering colleges and they get a degree there. It becomes easier. We are talking about moving them up to the ladder. So have-nots come to the ladder of haves, and then from there we start building. Of course, we cannot be very ambitious, but at least we can make some difference to this lot. Having said that, accreditation has already been talked about, and there's nothing much here for me. So I'll just take you over to a very small presentation. So what we do and where we can actually kind of come and help the existing agenda of the government and we can build the agenda together. So it's basically knowledge and opportunity. So while you are producing a knowledge force here, there's a gap between knowledge and opportunity. Opportunity is lying there, industry is there, knowledge is here. And how do we build it together? So that's where I think a company like us companies like us have important, very crucial role to play. So how do we do it? The domain skills are very specific, they are important, but can we have some sort of generic skills and which are transferable? So the skills that I learn on job, can we just have a training around that? I should learn to negotiate, I should have the leadership qualities, I should also be able to understand the stress that the workforce, that the work environment offers. So why not I'm prepared, right, at the engineering level itself, for me to be able to take the world and to understand the work kind of work environment differently. I'll not take. So this is it. What do we require? By 2015, we'll need 6 lakh leaders, 80 lakh skilled job-ready managers. And what are they looking for? Rather, what are we looking for? We are looking for domain skills, which are definitely there, available. And the sad part is basically we are trained in our language, in our own regional language, state language, but when we go to the industry or when we are sort of applying for our jobs, English becomes the language, and that becomes the global language also. All of us, we aspire from village, we aspire to go to the town nearest to our villages, and there to the city A, city C, city B, city A, and then abroad. So what remains? Where the challenge remains? First, English remains the challenge there. So why not we also have some sort of intervention at that level itself? And most importantly, employability skills. And in our courses that we do during our graduation time, why not we build, I have so many ideas actually, so why not we build these skills in our courses itself? Engineering B in electrical, can we have some employable skills at that level in the semester 1 itself for us to get a better understanding instead of giving it as an add-on? That's something where I think we have to, yeah. So what is this employability skills? Non-technical, and can all of you just read the slides there, because I'm like running out of time, I guess. So it actually brings a positive shift, enabling people to perform better at work and in their personal lives, to boost performance and sustainability. And it also stretches beyond comfort zones in order to become influential leaders in the industry. And this will not happen in one day. So there has to be a very strategic and very thought out process. The gap analysis has been, so we have done a gap analysis, but I'm saying that we are a company with, that can provide, that can work in the space of English language or employability skills. So we are not a company that has just come on one fine day, we decided that we'll do something and we'll just give it to the people. No, we have done a proper thorough research. We have done loads of pilot, we have done research outside, abroad. We have got the knowledge from there, and we have created the solution, the content, the knowledge information here, and we try to give it back to our people, our country. So here we are providing integrated solution for English and employability skills for the entire college term, for the engineering colleges, for the management colleges. That's about it. So Lokesh, you said quality, quantity, and qualification. Quality and qualification has a correlation, and we are talking about numbers, we are talking about quantity. The 3 Qs can be since our target group remains an engineering student, a graduate engineering, to be engineering graduate student in a rural setup, we are conscious of the fact that they are the people who they would not be able to afford the sophisticated solutions. That's where we think that our solutions should be, our offerings should be absolutely cost effective and highly scalable. Because in India, nothing works because the number is a huge challenge, and that's where we. So this is the last slide, sir. Kindly bear with me. This is the last slide. So when we are talking about this 3Q, quality, quantity, qualification, and we have very much taken care of these 3Qs, these 3Q components which are absolutely embedded in this framework. And this framework is, as I have told you, the challenges that we have taken those challenges as assumption. We see an ideal classroom where there is no infrastructure, there is no facilitator, there is no facilitation, it's only students. And perhaps there may not be teachers also. And that's where 4Q learning, with its complete solution, the usable technology, the training support, the on-site facilitation, and of course an effective feedback, that's where we are lacking in today's time. So this is the 4Q framework that we have created, and it's not just done in one day. It's a thorough research on which, it's founded on a thorough research that we did. And how do we do it? We have case studies, we have success stories, and it is working well as far as providing the functional English or the employability skills that we think that we are good at, and it's working fine with us. I'm sorry if I've just messed it up with the presentation. Thank you so very much for putting up.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashri. Now, I think this is time for award ceremony.
I would like to thank Dr. Sanjeev Sharma, Head RGTU, for chairing the session. I would also request Dr. Sharma to give away the mementos to the speakers as a token of thanks. Naveen, would you please get the mementos? Dr. Pandey, Dean, Industrial Technology, RGTU. Dr. Rajshri Datta Kumar, Vice President, Strategies and Alliances, Mosaic Network, India. Dr. Lavi Raj Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Badi University of Emerging Science and Technology. Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing.